Have you ever reached for a piece of cheese without giving it a second thought? Maybe it's part of your lunch, a little indulgence before bed, or a slice on your sandwich at noon. But what if I told you that one small cheese habit, something so routine, so ordinary, could quietly be cutting years off your life? And what if the cheese you ate just this week is quietly increasing your risk of a heart attack, a stroke, or even cognitive decline, without you ever feeling a single symptom? This may sound dramatic, but it's not scare tactics. It's hard data. The kind of data few people ever see. More than 85% of adults over the age of 60 eat cheese at least twice per week. Most believe it's harmless. Some even believe it's healthy. After all, cheese is natural. It's calcium-rich. It's been part of the human diet for thousands of years. But what most people never realize is that not all cheese is created equal. Some are nutritional gold mines, supporting your bones, your brain, your arteries. Others? They're dietary landmines, packed with preservatives, chemicals, and inflammatory fats that can age your body from the inside out. And the most disturbing part? The worst offenders are often the most common, found in the very brands, aisles, and packages we trust the most, hidden in plain sight. In this deep dive, we're going to uncover the truth. We'll reveal the 4 cheeses that can actually extend your life, and the 4 you should never eat if you're over 60. This isn't guesswork. This is the science you've never been told. Because the cheese you choose this week may quietly shape your next 20 years. Let's begin with the cheeses that help. The first is aged Gouda. And no, this isn't just a tastier, pricier version of regular Gouda. This is a biochemical powerhouse. When Gouda is aged for 18 months or longer, something remarkable happens at the molecular level. The long proteins in milk break down into smaller peptide chains, making the cheese far more digestible, especially for older adults with reduced stomach acid or weaker digestive enzymes. But what really makes aged Gouda special is its rich supply of vitamin K2, specifically the MK7 form. Vitamin K2 doesn't get the spotlight like vitamin D or calcium, but for adults over 60, it may be even more important. It acts like a traffic cop for calcium in your body, directing it away from soft tissues like arteries and toward bones where it's needed most. In studies out of Japan and Europe, adults with higher K2 intake saw up to a 50% reduction in arterial calcification and fractures. That means less hardening of the arteries, better bone density, and lower risk of heart attack. Most people barely get any K2 in their diets, but just 1 ounce of aged Gouda provides 75 micrograms, enough to change how your body handles calcium. And there's more. Aged Gouda is also a source of conjugated linoleic acid, or CLA. This rare fatty acid has been linked to reduced belly fat, stronger immune function, and even anti-cancer effects. And because of its long fermentation, aged Gouda has almost no lactose, making it a good option even for those who typically avoid dairy. The fermentation also produces postbiotics, compounds that nourish your gut bacteria and reduce systemic inflammation. Some researchers even believe postbiotics can influence the gut-brain axis, helping to regulate mood and cognitive clarity. So while the rest of the world sees Gouda as a fancy snack, you'll know it's a form of biological armor. The second cheese is Parmigiano Reggiano, the real kind, not the shelf-stable shaker can, but authentic Parmesan. Aged at least 2 years, made in Italy using raw milk and traditional cultures. That aging process is key. It's what makes this cheese a complete protein, a digestibility miracle, and a calcium delivery system like no other. 1 ounce of true Parmigiano Reggiano contains over 10 grams of protein, but it's not just quantity, it's quality. The long proteins have already been broken down into free amino acids, meaning your body can absorb and use them rapidly without struggling to digest. That's especially important if you're over 60, when muscle synthesis slows and protein needs increase. But here's where it gets fascinating. Parmesan contains around 330 milligrams of calcium per ounce, more than most dairy foods, and it comes packaged with magnesium and phosphorus in the exact ratios needed for optimal absorption. That makes it far more effective than most supplements. It's also loaded with casomorphins, compounds that bind gently to opioid receptors in your brain and gut. In controlled amounts, these help reduce anxiety, enhance calmness, and improve sleep quality. You also get a healthy dose of tyrosine, a precursor to dopamine and norepinephrine. These are the chemicals that keep your brain sharp, focused, and motivated. And because of the long fermentation, this cheese is lactose-free, rich in probiotics, and easy on digestion. In fact, in clinical settings, Parmigiano Reggiano is sometimes used with patients who have weak digestion or inflammatory bowel issues. 1 ounce after meals, as the Italians do, can help support digestion, enhance mineral absorption, and stabilize blood sugar. The third cheese is often overlooked, grass-fed raw cheddar. Let's address the word raw first. Properly aged raw cheeses are not dangerous. In many countries, including the U.S., raw milk cheeses are legally required to be aged at least 60 days, which neutralizes pathogens while preserving natural enzymes and probiotics that are otherwise destroyed during pasteurization. When cheddar is made from grass-fed milk, the nutrient density skyrockets. You get up to 5 times more CLA, 3 times more omega-3s, and significantly more vitamin A, vitamin E, and beta-carotene than you would from conventional cheddar. And then there's K2. Grass-fed raw cheddar contains MK4, the shorter chain form of vitamin K2, which is especially effective for heart and bone health. It plays a direct role in activating matrix GLA protein, which prevents calcium buildup in arteries and soft tissue. If you're taking calcium but not getting K2, you could be hardening your arteries without realizing it. This cheese helps prevent that. It's also an excellent source of probiotics, including strains that produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. These compounds help maintain the integrity of the gut lining, support the immune system, and even influence brain function through the vagus nerve. Butyrate in particular has been shown to reduce inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, and protect neurons from oxidative stress. And here's the best part. Raw cheddar has a deep, rich flavor, so a small amount goes a long way. You don't need a large serving to feel satisfied. The fourth and final cheese on the must-eat list is authentic Swiss Gruyere. This cheese is a quiet giant. It's not just the protein content that makes Gruyere special, it's the fermentation bacteria used to make it. Propionibacterium freudenreichi is a bacterial strain that creates propionic acid, a short-chain fatty acid shown to reduce inflammation, lower cholesterol, and support healthy gut flora. It also synthesizes high amounts of vitamin B12, critical for maintaining nerve health and energy metabolism. Gruyere is also rich in glutathione precursors like cysteine and glycine. Glutathione is known as the body's master antioxidant, but levels decline with age. Without it, oxidative stress builds up faster, accelerating everything from skin aging to neurodegeneration. By giving your body the building blocks to make more glutathione, Gruyere helps preserve cellular health and protect mitochondria, the energy factories of your cells. You also get trace minerals like selenium and zinc, which support immune function, hormone production, and DNA repair. One fascinating Swiss study found that older adults who consumed Gruyere regularly had better muscle retention and vascular flexibility compared to those who didn't, even with similar protein intake from other sources. So yes, it's delicious melted over soup or sliced with apples. But Swiss Gruyere is also one of the most underrated longevity foods in your local grocery store. Now, let's turn the page. Because while those 4 cheeses can support your health and even extend your life, the next 4 might be doing the opposite. And unfortunately, they're the ones most commonly eaten. First up, processed cheese slices. The individually wrapped kind that melt perfectly on a burger or grilled cheese. These slices are convenience incarnate. but nutritionally, they're a disaster. Most contain less than 50% actual cheese. The rest? A mix of oils, preservatives, emulsifiers, salt, and chemical stabilizers. Sodium phosphate, one of the main preservatives, has been linked to kidney stress and arterial calcification. And 2 slices of this cheese contain over 600 milligrams of sodium, more than a quarter of the recommended daily limit. It's not just the amount, it's the form. Sodium phosphate is absorbed more aggressively by the body than table salt, leading to higher risks of vascular damage. These slices also contain trans fats. Yes, even when the label says 0 grams trans fat. That's because food laws allow any content under 0.5 grams per serving to be labeled as 0. But those small amounts add up, especially if you're eating them several times per week. And the emulsifiers? Polysorbate 80 and carboxymethylcellulose have both been linked in studies to gut microbiome disruption and increased intestinal permeability, sometimes referred to as leaky gut. That opens the door to inflammation, autoimmune issues, and a higher risk of metabolic disease. Second, cheese spreads in jars. These products are shelf-stable for months, sometimes years, and that should be your first warning. They're filled with modified starches, artificial flavors, food dyes, and hydrogenated fats. Many contain MSG or flavoring analogs like yeast extract, which can overstimulate neurons and contribute to headaches, heart palpitations, and irritability. The oils used are typically industrial seed oils, like soybean or canola, which have been linked to chronic inflammation and oxidative damage in cells. In some tests, researchers have even found traces of plastic-derived chemicals called phthalates, which can leach into food from the packaging. Phthalates are known endocrine disruptors and have been associated with hormone imbalance and metabolic disruption.
These spreads are also extremely high in sodium, often over 500 milligrams per 2 tablespoon serving, and most people use far more than that. Third on the list of cheeses to avoid, pre-shredded cheese. It's convenient, no doubt, but that convenience comes with a cost. To keep the shredded pieces from clumping, manufacturers coat them with anti-caking agents like cellulose, often derived from wood pulp, and starches that can interfere with digestion and absorption. The surface area of shredded cheese is also greater, which means faster oxidation and nutrient degradation. Many pre-shredded cheeses are treated with natamycin, an antifungal agent. While generally recognized as safe, frequent exposure can alter gut microbiota and increase the risk of bacterial imbalance. In some cases, these cheeses are also made from lower quality milk or contain additives to enhance texture and meltability, none of which supports your health. And finally, blue cheese. This one's controversial. Some nutritionists praise it for its unique fermentation, but the science shows serious risks for many people, especially older adults. The blue veins in this cheese are formed by Penicillium roqueforti, a mold that creates compounds called mycotoxins. In small amounts, they may not pose an immediate threat, but regular consumption can lead to a buildup of toxins in your body, especially in individuals with weakened detoxification systems. Blue cheese is also extremely high in tyramine, a compound that can trigger severe blood pressure spikes in people taking certain medications, like MAO inhibitors. And it's loaded with histamines, up to 10 times more than most other aged cheeses. For people with histamine sensitivity, that can mean headaches, joint pain, insomnia, mood swings, and digestive issues. The saturated fat profile in blue cheese is also concerning, especially its palmitic acid content, which has been shown to be more inflammatory than other types of saturated fats. And because of its intense flavor, many people fail to notice when blue cheese has spoiled, making food poisoning more likely. So, now you know. You know the 4 cheeses that can work for you, and the 4 that might quietly work against you. And here's the truth. Food is never neutral. It's either helping you heal or helping you decline. Every bite of cheese you take sends a message to your body. Build up or break down. But now you have the knowledge to choose. To choose aged Gouda over plastic-wrapped slices. To choose real Parmesan over processed spreads.
To choose grass-fed raw cheddar over convenience bags. To choose Gruyere over gimmicks. You don't need to cut out cheese. You just need to cut out the wrong kinds. And that decision repeated each week, each month, each year. That's how health is built. Not in massive leaps, but in quiet, consistent, informed choices. We'd love to hear from you. What cheese do you eat most often? Have you ever noticed how certain cheeses make you feel better or worse? Let us know in the comments. We read every single one. If this video helped you think differently, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear this, because the smallest choices often have the biggest impact. Stay informed, stay sharp, and we'll see you in the next one.